Everyone. I hope that most of you had an opportunity to join us last week for our kickoff Welcome Wednesday, welcoming all of you RSO leaders back to this academic semester. So welcome to everyone. I am just going to go over a few ground rules. If this will be recorded, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post it in the chat or raise their hand if you have a question along the way. And I am going to start recording and share my screen with a brief presentation. So welcome everyone. Today's Training Tuesday's topic is going to be budget management. I just wanted to give a little bit of overview for those folks who were not able to join us last week. My name is Sandy Burke. I'm from the Office of Student Involvement, here along with a couple of colleagues of mine. But just to introduce you to our office and give you an overview, the Assistant Dean Director of Student Involvement is Brenda Hounsell Sullivan. The Senior Associate of Student Involvement and the Director for Orientation and Transition is Kathleen Joan Cannon, who is joining us this afternoon. And the Associate Director of Student Involvement is Chris Holquin, who is also joining us this afternoon, as well as Patrick Rogers, who is the Assistant Director of Student Involvement. Myself, and also in our office is Teresa Carnes, who's the Administrative Assistant for the Office of Student Involvement, the Office of Campus Recreation and Gateways Orientation. So that is just a little bit about our office and the people that work in our office. Hopefully you've all at one point or another connected with one of the staff members from OSI, whether it be in event planning format, through orientation, but welcome all of you, and welcome to any newcomers if this is your first time kind of going through the RSO leadership role. So welcome, and thank you for taking on these leadership roles and collaborating with our office to bring some vibrant programming to the student body. So thank you for that. As I mentioned, we are going to be doing these Training Tuesdays every Tuesday in the month of September at 4 p.m. Today's first one is about budget management. Next week, we will be going over some of the features and some of the new program adaptations of a platform that we're going to be bringing to campus called Campus Groups, which also includes a mobile app for your phone. So we're really excited to bring that platform to you to engage RSOs and student groups across campus. And the third Training Tuesday will be the event planning and engaging virtually session. And the last one will be marketing and social media tips and tricks for your RSO. And again, if you would like to register for those trainings, you'll see the bit.ly there that you can go ahead and register for those trainings so we know who and what to expect, and we can send out the Zoom links ahead of time to all the folks who have registered. So I just wanted to give a little bit of an overview. As you all know, that the Office of Student Involvement works in conjunction with the Student Government Association to oversee RSOs. And last week we were given a little bit of an overview of the structure of the SGA from the co-presidents Noah Sisk and Victoria Tara. Today we are joined by a few members of the SGA Senate Budget and Reserve Board committees. Our Senate Budget Committee Chair is Michael Charla, and our SGA Treasurer is Jimmy Mooney, and I believe they are both on the call here if they just want to briefly introduce themselves. And then we also have the part of the Reserve Board Committee, Nicole, Jack, and Elena Kang. So if you want to, hopefully you're on the call. I believe I saw both Michael and Jimmy. If you wanted to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I can start. Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Charla. I am a senior here at Holy Cross. I'm a history major and rhetoric minor. I've been on the Senate Budget Committee since my first year here at Holy Cross, and I'm excited to be the chair this year. So if you ever have any questions about budgeting, please feel free to reach out to me or to Jimmy.
As you guys figured out, I'm Jimmy Lonnie. I'm the SGA treasurer this year. I was on the reserve board last semester as part of Senate, so I'm excited to get it from the cabinet perspective this year. And yeah, you see my email there. If you have any questions, let me know.
Great, thank you both of you, and thank you for joining us. As we have mentioned in previous meetings, and as you probably know, the student activities fee is how the RSO and SJ budget is formulated and where our revenues come from. And unfortunately, due to the current pandemic, no student activity fee was collected for the fall of 2020. So clearly that puts the RSOs, at a challenge for funding and for programming. We do, however, have a small amount of funding available to RSOs, and there is some small rollover in particular for some groups. And how we're going to handle that this year is each RSO must go through an application or complete a form to use those funds on an as-needed basis. So there is a form, and you can see the link there. It's a bit.ly form, RSO funds request. So in order to get approval for any spending, you would need to request through that form, and it just basically asks a little bit about what you're planning to do, if it's a program, event, the platform, and what you were thinking of and what you needed for funds. And from that point, you would be contacted via the RSO, the SGA Reserve Board, or your OSI event planner, and they would get some basic information from you and just kind of have a conversation about what you want to do and how it can positively impact the campus as a whole, both virtually and potentially for those few people that are on campus. But we are looking to identify those programs or events that can engage the entire student population versus those things that might be more applicable for an intergroup engagement. So things like a members only event would not be something that we would want to prioritize this semester. We would want to prioritize those events or programs that would be engaged the entire student population. So that's kind of how we're moving forward with the budget this year. So there's just a quick screenshot of what the form looks like and a couple of the questions that the form is asking. So I'm assuming that many of you on this call are treasurers, and if you are a treasurer, then I'm assuming you have done this either in some aspect before or have some knowledge of how to create a budget or track expenses. But certainly if you need assistance with that, we are here to support and help you. But some of the treasurer's responsibilities for your RSO is to keep track of all of your revenues and expenses. And the SJA has kindly provided a budget template that is very intuitive and user-friendly, and that will be of a great assistance to you. And I will show you that in a little bit. So you'd be responsible for the oversight of all credit card expenses. So currently this fall semester, we are not dispensing any credit cards at this time due to the student activities fee not funding the student organizations this year. But in the future or in normal circumstances, that is something that the treasurer would be responsible for. And then part of that would be required to attend Chrome River training, which is our expense allocation platform for the student organizations. Treasurers must sign all financial paperwork, whether it be a check request, or a journal entry or purchase order form. Basically, the treasurer acts as a gatekeeper of all the finances. So when members of your RSO want to spend RSO money, they really should be going through the treasurer because it is the treasurer's responsibility to keep track of all those expenses. And then in the spring, when you go through re-recognition, we're going to ask that the treasurers and or co-chairs members do a presentation of their budget request and of their budget expenses and revenues over the year. So you really want to make sure you're keeping track of all that as time goes on. If you need to request a budget printout from within our system to verify your expenses and your revenues that you're keeping track of, you can request that from the OSI email at any point in time, and we can email that off to you. I'm just going to stop for a minute there to see if there's any questions about anything. Alrighty, we will keep it moving then. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. A quick note on administering or having funds as part of the Student Government Association's bylaws and constitutions. No RSOs or student organizations may hold funds or maintain funds outside of the college account. So this includes maintaining any separate bank accounts under specific student names or under different names. It has to be within the college bank accounts. It includes collecting any funds through social giving platforms or transfer apps like Venmo or any type of other mechanism. When non-approved mechanisms are used, your organization is having increased liability and risks. So that's why we do ask you only to use the provided student organization fund that the college maintains. Here's a quick screenshot of that budget template that I was referring to, and this budget template can be found currently on the SGA Moodle site, as well as the OSI Moodle site. So if you want access to download that, I would advise doing that. And so it's all pre-filled, and all the formulas and all the pivot tables are already set up for you in all the formulas. So it's a very good tool to keep yourself on track and project your expenses and your revenues. I'm just going to touch upon a few of the more common paperwork that you might encounter with OSI. Typically, these are housed in our office in paper format. However, obviously in this virtual world, these will be made available on the OSI and the SGA Moodle page, and eventually on our new campus groups platform as well. So our first one would be a check request, which would be a request to initiate a check. And typically that is to pay outside vendors or professional services, contracted services, and things of that nature. At this virtual state that we're in at this time, what you would want to do is email that to your event planner. So you would want that to complete that and either have the treasurer sign it and scan it and send it over to us, and what copy of the invoice attached, or you can just have the treasurer email that they authorize the purchase. And as well, we only, the college only does the check runs on Fridays. So every Friday a check run is made. The cutoff for that check run is on the Tuesday prior. So just keep that in mind when you are wanting to time a check. We ask that you should do that about 2 to 3 weeks prior to when the check or the payment is due, to allow sufficient time for that payment and check request to be processed and initiated. The next form is a purchase order, which probably will not be used too frequently this current fall, as this is used more for apparel, which is not really an expense that we're going to prioritize this semester due to the lack of funds, as it's not really a something that's going to engage. As I mentioned before, it's not a virtual engagement or a student engagement for the student body. But in the future, just so you know what it is to order any apparel or any t-shirts and things of that nature, as well as WB Mason supply orders for your organization. The next form is the graphic arts form, so that if you want the graphic arts department in Holy Cross to design or print anything for you, posters, flyers, table tents, invitations, they can design logos and things of that nature. This is the form that you would need to initiate that request. And a journal entry form would be for use when you want to transfer money from one department or RSO to another. So if a department on campus is giving you a donation towards an event or donating money, or you are collaborating with another organization on an event, you want to transfer money to that other organization, this is the paperwork that you would do to accomplish that. And finally, we have a deposit form, which is how you would deposit funds into your Holy Cross Student Organization account, whether it be cash or checks. You'd want to complete this form and typically bring it into the Student Involvement Office so that we can keep a copy in your RSO file for you, and then you would bring the monies and the one copy down to the bursar's office. If anyone does have expect to have any monies come into them this semester, if they could just touch base with their event planner so we can help coordinate that deposit in the virtual surroundings that we're in this semester. So just be in touch with your event planner. A quick word about donations and fundraised funds. So if your organization is receiving any donations, or you've done a fundraiser or want to do a fundraiser, prior to soliciting a gift, student organizations are required to receive approval from their OSI event planner. So if you are want to solicit alumni or want to solicit for a gift or a donation, we just ask that you connect with your OSI event planner to make sure that you're within all the college policies and guidelines relative to donations and solicitation of gifts. Anytime you do have a check that is going to be issued to your organization, it should be made out to the Holy Cross versus your organization name. And then if you do decide to make any charitable donations based on any fundraising and things of that nature, only fundraised monies can be used for charitable donations. So if you received an allocation, or in the future, if you do receive an allocation from the Student Government Association, allocated funds cannot be used for charitable donations. Only those monies that you fundraised within your organization can actually be turned around and donated to different charities. And to do that donation, you would just initiate a check request with a letter attached to it indicating the amount and the reason for your donation. So I'm going to stop it there again, and I'm just going to see if anybody has any questions. Feel free to unmute yourself and jump in to ask any questions. And certainly if you have specific questions about your organization, you can reach out to your event planner. You can reach out to Mike or Jimmy or myself, and we'd be happy to help you. This is just going to be one of those semesters that we're going to have to be in kind of contact and have a lot of discussions about events and spending. We're really going to try to be very prioritized and very stringent upon what RSOs are going to be able to spend their money on this semester in these times. So we just need to have a conversation about that, and please feel free to reach out to your OSI representative to engage in that conversation and let us help and collaborate with you in the best way to meet your goals. So if nobody has any questions, but please feel free to jump in if you do. I am going to turn it over to Patrick Rogers in our office, who is going to talk to you about how your organization can engage not only the first year students, but other students on campus in your organization.
Thanks, Sandy. So, hi everybody. Again, my name is Patrick Rogers. I use he, him pronouns. Excited to be here with all of you again this semester, or for this training for the semester. So wanting to share an upcoming opportunity. I advise the Purple Key Society. I know some of the members of the Purple Key Society are on the call, but just wanting to share that the co-curricular extravaganza, the virtual co-curricular extravaganza, will be on Thursday, September 24th in the evening time. The times are yet to be announced. So looking forward to connecting with first year students, incoming students, and just students who are still looking to get involved. This is such an important event at the start of each semester. So really excited that we're still able to offer it even in a virtual format. So as you are meeting with your groups over the next few weeks before this happens, make sure that you're watching your student organization email for any updates or any things that the Purple Key Society might be asking of you for information as we're setting up the virtual fair. But also start having conversations as far as what communication do you want to share with the students who might be joining your meeting that night to be able to share about your clever organization. What are some of the things that your group does and that they're now doing virtually? Just thinking through how you'll be sharing and articulating that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or the Purple Key Society. Their email is right there. And if you just type it into Gmail, it will show up. So I'm really looking forward to this event, and I know the Purple Key Society is excited to offer this in a virtual format. So looking forward to having you all join us.
Great, thank you, Patrick. And as I said before, please feel free to reach out to any one of us in student involvement. We're really here to help support your ideas and your programs this semester, although it's going to look a little bit different this semester. We have some things that we're doing as an office that we love some student collaboration on, and we'd love to help your organization meet their needs this semester. So please feel free to reach out to us. And the idea of these kind of Tuesday trainings are to be just a brief training on different areas to help your organization be successful. So we're hoping to keep these trainings to just a short time period. We know Zoom fatigue is a real thing out there that everyone is experiencing, and that you're all trying to balance your classes as well. So we don't want to keep you too long. So that's just the idea. So if there's things that as we go forward, topics that you're interested in hearing more about, or that things that you've learned that you'd like to share with us so that we can share with other RSOs who can learn from what you've done. Again, please feel free to reach out and communicate with us so that we can provide you the most resources available that will help and support your organization. And for those organizations that do have some rollover funds from last year, I will be in touch with you about what that looks like, and with the link to the form for spending those funds. So be on the lookout for that. Does anybody else have any other questions? I'm glad you could all join us, and I hope that you were able to, someone from your organization is able to join us next Tuesday when we start to talk about our new platform that we're very excited about, campus groups, and getting that out to you folks, and what that resource can provide for you in the future weeks and months of the year. And I hope you're all enjoying your classes so far and adjusting to classes and getting off to a good start and staying healthy. And we wish you the best for a successful semester.